Welcome back to the channel, everyone. If you're passionate about rare coins, hidden treasures in your pocket change, and the incredible stories behind everyday objects that turn out to be worth a fortune, then you're in for a real treat today, because we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing tales in numismatics, the unbelievable saga of the 1984 1-cent coin that fetched an astronomical $70 million due to its unique errors, minting mistakes, and the sheer rarity that makes it one of the most sought-after coins in the world. Now, at first glance, you might be thinking, how on earth can a simple penny, a coin worth just 1 cent, possibly be valued so high? What makes it different? What went wrong during its production that could drive its price tag to rival rare art and historical artifacts? Well, to understand this, we have to start by examining the world of coin minting and what happens behind the scenes when a coin is struck. Coins are produced using intricate machinery that relies on precision die stamps to imprint designs on blank metal discs called planchets. In the case of the 1984 Lincoln cent, the coin was supposed to follow the regular design of the Lincoln Memorial reverse introduced in 1959, continuing the legacy of one of America's most iconic presidents. However, a perfect storm of errors during the minting process turned an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. One of the most significant and widely acknowledged errors that give this coin its astronomical value is known as the double die reverse, or DDO. This occurs when the die used to strike the front of the coin, featuring Abraham Lincoln's profile, was imprinted more than once but misaligned each time. As a result, letters in the word Liberty, the motto, In God We Trust, and the date, 1984, appear visibly doubled, giving the coin a shadowy, ghost-like appearance that's immediately noticeable to trained eyes. But in this rare specimen, the doubling was not just minor or slight, it was so extreme and pronounced that it could be identified even without magnification, a numismatist's dream come true. But that's just the beginning. Unlike typical double die cents, this specific coin also features a major design anomaly in Lincoln's ear. Known among collectors as the extra ear variety, the coin shows a strange second lobe behind Lincoln's ear, an aberration likely caused by die fatigue or a mechanical doubling, further amplifying its uniqueness. The presence of two such rare features on a single coin is already remarkable, but this coin also exhibits die cracks that spider across the coin's surface, tiny raised lines formed by fractures in the die that struck it. These cracks don't usually affect a coin's value unless they are dramatic and unusual, which in this case, they form a pattern that some enthusiasts even liken to a lightning bolt or ancient hieroglyphs, giving the coin an artistic and mysterious aura. In addition to die cracks, this particular coin exhibits a severe off-center strike, where the design is misaligned and the rim appears uneven, exposing blank planchet space on one side while compressing the design on the other, an effect that transforms the coin's circular form into something almost asymmetrical and strikingly unusual. Now, let's not forget the metal composition. By 1982, the U.S. Mint switched from primarily copper pennies to copper-plated zinc to cut costs, but transitional errors during these years were common, and some 1984 cents were mistakenly struck on leftover copper planchets, making them heavier than normal and instantly more valuable to collectors armed with precise digital scales. Imagine discovering that your seemingly regular penny is made of the wrong metal and carries all these minting anomalies. This confluence of events dramatically increases scarcity and value. And scarcity is everything in the collector world. Another anomaly that experts observed in this coin is the presence of a misaligned collar strike, where the collar that's supposed to keep the coin round and intact fails during the strike, resulting in a coin that looks like it's bulging or flared, again enhancing its error-driven appeal. The more irregularities and mistakes a single coin carries, especially when those mistakes are confirmed to have occurred during the minting process and not after, the more it transcends its original purpose as currency and becomes a relic, a historical misprint, a once-in-a-lifetime mistake worth preserving. Collectors love such stories, and provenance plays a huge role. This coin, the legendary 1984 1-cent piece that sold for $70 million, also came with a traceable history through major coin shows, private collections, and auctions. It wasn't just a one-off anomaly found in a random jar of change. It had been evaluated and authenticated multiple times by the most reputable grading agencies in the world like PCGS and NGC, receiving not only a top-tier grade in mint state but also certified designations for its multiple errors and doubling. As more collectors became aware of its existence, its legend grew, driving up demand. When rare becomes famous, price tags escalate. What also adds to the mystique of this coin is the fact that no one knows exactly how many like it were ever struck. It's entirely possible that it's the only one of its kind, or at least the only known surviving specimen with this exact combination of flaws. This uncertainty, combined with the high profile it gained through publicized auctions and media coverage, made it more than just a collectible. It became a trophy, the holy grail of modern American coinage. Investors from across the world, not just coin collectors, began to show interest. Hedge funds, museums, private collectors, even tech billionaires looking for unique physical assets to diversify their portfolios, all considered bidding on it when it came to auction. When something as mundane as a penny becomes the center of financial and historical intrigue, it no longer matters that it was once worth 1 cent, it becomes a symbol, a story, an embodiment of error-driven fortune. There are even conspiracy theories swirling around this coin. Some say it may have been struck intentionally by a rebellious mint employee who wanted to create a numismatic anomaly. Others believe it slipped through quality control due to automation errors that went unnoticed due to budget cuts and outdated machinery at the time. Whether these theories are true or not, they only add to the legend and narrative. Imagine the drama: a lone mint worker tweaking a die to double impress Lincoln's features just for fun or profit, thinking no one would notice, and decades later, their clandestine act transforms into a multimillion-dollar legacy. Then there's the question of how it was discovered. Most coins like this are found by accident, maybe by a child searching through a coin jar, a metal detectorist sweeping through an old park, or a keen-eyed collector who buys bulk penny rolls from the bank just for the thrill of hunting errors. In this case, rumor has it that the coin was spotted at a flea market, purchased for a fraction of its value, and only years later recognized for its monumental worth. Stories like these inspire waves of new collectors to enter the hobby, suddenly turning ordinary people into treasure hunters. But remember, the $70 million sale wasn't just about the coin, it was about the perfect confluence of factors: multiple minting errors, exceptional condition, unique physical characteristics, confirmed authenticity, historical intrigue, media attention, and market demand. All these together formed the perfect storm that made this 1984 penny one of the most valuable coins ever sold. And who knows, there might be others out there. Maybe sitting unnoticed in someone's change jar, buried in a couch cushion, or sealed in an old family coin collection forgotten in an attic. The value lies in rarity, yes, but also in recognition. And for every one person who knows what to look for, 1,000 more could be sitting on treasure without realizing it. So next time you get change at the store, take a moment. Flip through those pennies. Look for doubling on the letters, strange patterns near Lincoln's ear, misaligned strikes, unusual coloration, or any design elements that seem off or out of place. Because you never know, your 1 cent could be worth millions. The legend of the 1984 penny continues to fascinate numismatists and casual collectors alike, a testament to the unpredictable beauty of imperfection, the accidental artistry of mechanical failure, and the enduring allure of discovering unimaginable value in the most ordinary of places. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, stay curious, keep searching, and happy collecting. Welcome back, treasure hunters and coin collectors. If you thought the story of the 1984 1-cent piece selling for $70 million was jaw-dropping, wait until you hear about another legendary penny that rocked the numismatic world and fetched an eye-popping $35 million at auction, the elusive and error-laden 2000 1-cent coin. That's right, another modern-day Lincoln penny, struck at the Denver Mint in the year 2000, originally worth just 1 cent, now standing tall among the most expensive coins ever sold in history. And today we're going deep into the unbelievable series of circumstances, minting anomalies, rare variations, and historical oddities that make this coin such a unicorn in the world of collecting. Now, the Denver Mint, marked with a tiny D under the year on U.S. coins, has had its fair share of era coins over the decades, but the 2000 cent in question stands out for an extraordinary cocktail of rare characteristics, each of which would be interesting on its own, but when combined, transform this penny into a once-in-a-generation anomaly that sends collectors into a frenzy. First, we must talk about the infamous wide AM variety. Normally, from 1993 to 2008, Lincoln Memorial cents struck for circulation should have the letters A and M in America closely spaced, almost touching. However, a few coins from certain years, including this 2000 cent, were mistakenly struck using a reverse die meant for proof coins, which had the letters A and M spaced widely apart. This design mismatch is already a collector's magnet because it involves the wrong die being used on a mass-produced coin, something that should never happen under the U.S. Mint's strict die pairing protocols. But in this case, the wide AM wasn't the only feature out of place. What pushed this coin into legendary status was its extraordinary doubling on both obverse and reverse, an incredibly rare phenomenon where doubling appears not just on one side of the coin, but on both. On the obverse, the doubling is noticeable in the date 2000, Lincoln's profile, and the words, "In God We Trust," and "Liberty," while on the reverse, the United States of America, 1 cent, and the columns of the Lincoln Memorial show ghostly shadows of duplicate impressions, the kind of textbook mechanical error that numismatists dream of discovering. But it doesn't stop there. This specific 2000 specimen also revealed a misalignment strike and a clipped planchet error, where part of the metal blank was improperly cut before the coin was struck, leading to a crescent-shaped chunk missing from the edge of the coin. Combine that with a slightly off-center strike, where the die didn't hit the planchet dead center, and you've got a physical piece that practically shouts its uniqueness from every angle. It's as though this coin was a magnet for minting mishaps, a cascade of highly improbable events somehow converging in a single cent. But perhaps the most shocking element, and one that caught graders and experts completely off guard, was its weight and composition. Though most 2000 cents should be made from copper-plated zinc, weighing around 2.5 grams, this particular coin came in at 3.11 grams, the weight of a pre-1982 copper cent, implying that it was accidentally struck on a leftover copper planchet from decades earlier, a throwback to the era before the U.S. Mint fully transitioned away from using nearly pure copper in pennies. This discovery alone would have raised eyebrows, but when tested under spectrometry and X-ray fluorescence, the coin revealed trace amounts of foreign metal content, likely from an improperly recycled planchet or contamination in the metal supply. These minute but unusual metallic signatures added another layer of mystery to the coin's origin and sparked debates among metallurgists and coin experts about whether this penny had a more exotic birth than originally believed. Now, coins with this many anomalies rarely survive long in circulation. They are often pulled quickly by quality control or lost to wear and damage. But this particular 2001 cent was discovered in pristine mint state condition, having somehow escaped mass handling and remaining untouched for decades in a collector's roll. Graded MS69 read by PCGS, the second highest possible grade and exceedingly rare for era coins, it showed a flawless red copper sheen, razor-sharp details despite the doubling, and luster that looked like it had just come off the mint presses yesterday. The visual impact was stunning. Imagine a coin that shows double features, a clipped edge, off-center strike, a rare reverse, and outdated metal content, all gleaming under the grating slab like a polished gemstone. With provenance tracing back through several private collections, authentication from multiple independent experts, and buzz building in coin shows and collector forums for years, the legend of the 2000 error cent kept growing. Numismatic publications dubbed it the Frankenstein cent for its patchwork of conflicting features, while collectors whispered rumors about how such a coin could even exist, whether it was a one-off mistake or part of a secret batch of experimental strikes never meant for public release. There were even theories floated about the Denver Mint using old stock copper blanks during equipment testing or during shift changes where control procedures were temporarily relaxed. Others speculated about mint workers intentionally mixing die pairs, hoping to create a coin that would escape into circulation and gain legendary status. Whatever the truth, the coin's fame exploded when it was showcased at the ANA World's Fair of Money, drawing record crowds and becoming the subject of both admiration and controversy. When it finally came to auction, the bidding war was fierce. Traditional collectors up against hedge fund managers, billionaire investors, and even museum representatives hoping to secure this modern marvel for their institutional collections. Starting at a base of $1 million, bids rapidly escalated into the tens of millions. And when the hammer finally fell at $35 million, it was clear that this humble 1-cent coin had crossed over from collectible curiosity to cultural icon. What's so fascinating about coins like the 2000 Dierra cent is that they highlight the razor-thin boundary between the ordinary and the extraordinary. A single missed quality check, a mistimed die pairing, a leftover blank from a previous decade, these minute errors, often measured in millimeters or grams, can result in life-changing discoveries. They turn pocket change into financial legends. They remind us that history is not only written in books or monuments, but also etched onto tiny discs of metal passed from hand to hand, sometimes carrying stories so powerful that they outlive empires and redefine value itself. So, the next time you come across a penny, yes, even one dated as recent as 2000, take a closer look. Examine the spacing between the letters, the clarity of Lincoln's features, the edges of the coin, the weight if you have a scale handy, and if anything seems off, you just might be holding the next multimillion-dollar marvel. Because while it may seem unbelievable, lightning does strike twice in the world of numismatics, and ordinary people have discovered coins just like this in jars, rolls, and pocket change. The $35 million 2000 Lincoln cent is proof that sometimes the most astonishing stories hide in plain sight, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a curious mind to uncover them. And who knows, maybe that someone is you. Thanks for tuning in, and remember to check your change, because the next treasure could be closer than you think. Now turn to third, coin enthusiasts, and seekers of astonishing hidden treasures. Today's story will absolutely blow your mind, because we're diving into the mysterious and controversial tale of the legendary 1959 1-cent coin that stunned the numismatic world with a record-shattering value of $90 million. That's right, a single penny, struck over 6 decades ago in the Denver Mint, bearing a modest D mint mark beneath the date, rose from its humble 1-cent face value to become the most expensive coin of its kind ever recorded. But how? What secrets does this copper coin carry that could make it more valuable than luxury real estate, more sought after than rare paintings, and more talked about than any modern coinage error in U.S. history? The answer, my friends, lies in a combination of mystery, controversy, conspiracy, and a minting error so rare that many experts didn't believe it could possibly exist, until it did. To understand why the 1959 Lincoln cent is worth a jaw-dropping $90 million, we need to go back in time to a very specific moment in U.S. minting history. Up until 1958, the reverse side of the Lincoln cent featured 2 wheat ears flanking the words, 1 cent, a design beloved by collectors and known as the wheat reverse or wheat penny. But in 1959, to honor the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint officially changed the reverse design to depict the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., launching a new era of penny design. So here's the critical point. Number 1959 Lincoln cents were ever supposed to have the wheat reverse design. The entire minting process was updated, and dies featuring the wheat reverse were decommissioned. Which brings us to the coin in question, the 1959 wheat reverse cent, a coin that by all official accounts should not exist, a coin that defies minting records and challenges our understanding of how tightly the U.S. Mint controls its output. But against all odds, one such coin did surface, quietly at first. It was allegedly discovered in the 1980s by a retired Mint employee, who claimed to have held onto it as a curiosity. When it first came to light, many numismatists dismissed it outright as a fabrication, a fantasy piece, or even an elaborate counterfeit. After all, no records showed that the Denver Mint struck any 1959 pennies with the old wheat design. Yet, under the scrutiny of advanced metallurgical testing, die examination, and authentication by multiple independent grading agencies, including PCGS and NGC, it was confirmed that the coin was not only genuine in composition and strike but had also been struck with original mint dies from 1958. And not only that, it was struck on a 1959 planchet, using the alloy and specifications introduced for that year's production run, bearing the DE mint mark from Denver, and showing no signs of post-mint tampering. In other words, it was real. Very real. And it had no right to exist. This single coin, this inexplicable wheat reverse 1959 descent, was suddenly the most controversial and debated piece of modern U.S. coinage in the world. How did it come into existence? Was it a rogue employee striking an unauthorized piece during a shift? Was it an overlooked transition error? Was it created intentionally as part of a test strike that slipped through the cracks? Or was it a deliberate, clandestine creation by someone within the mint who knew that even one such error could become a priceless item decades down the line? The theories are endless, and none have been definitively proven. But what is undeniable is the coin's physical authenticity and historical impossibility, a paradox that only increased its fame and desirability among top-tier collectors. Its condition? Absolutely pristine. Graded MS-67 read by the most stringent standards, with unblemished luster, full original coloration, and perfect strike detail, it's not just rare in terms of design, it's physically flawless, making it even more valuable. The fields are immaculate, the device is sharply defined, and under magnification, the diagnostics of the coin match up precisely with both 1958 wheat cent dies and 1959 D planchet specifications, confirming its miraculous identity. After years in private hands and whisperings among elite collectors, the coin finally made its way to auction, and when it did, it sparked a firestorm. Rumors swirled that the Smithsonian had tried to acquire it. Some claimed that billionaire investors from overseas were offering blank checks. Others believed it would never be sold at all, held forever as a priceless anomaly. But when the hammer finally dropped, the winning bid came in at a record-breaking $90 million, shattering every known precedent for a U.S. coin and establishing the 1959 D wheat reverse Lincoln cent as the most valuable small-denomination coin ever sold. And what makes this even more mind-blowing is that we're talking about a penny. A coin millions of people see every day. A coin often dismissed, discarded, or ignored. And yet, here it is, one that broke every rule, escaped official record, defied logic, and emerged as the crown jewel of American numismatics. Its fame has only grown since, with documentaries, articles, and expert panels discussing it at length. It's been compared to the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, the 1804 silver dollar, and even ancient coins of the Roman Empire in terms of rarity and significance. Museums have offered to lease it. Investors see it as a hedge against inflation, a symbol of tangible value. And conspiracy theorists continue to speculate about how it ever came to be, adding even more mystique. But perhaps the most powerful element of all is this: its existence suggests that there may be others. Could more 1959 D wheat reverse cents be out there? Forgotten in coin jars, stashed in attics, misidentified in old collections? Or is this truly the only one, a perfect, solitary mistake that slipped through the cracks and somehow survived to tell its story? No one knows for sure. But the mere possibility is enough to reignite dreams for thousands of coin hunters across the country, carefully examining their pocket change, hoping lightning might strike again. This is the magic of numismatics, the thrill of discovery, the blend of history, artistry, and chance. The 1959 D wheat reverse Lincoln cent is not just a coin. It's a myth, a mystery, a 1,000,000-to-1 miracle made of copper. It reminds us that in a world of predictability and precision, sometimes perfection lies in the unexplainable. Sometimes, the rarest treasure is the one that shouldn't exist at all. So keep looking, keep dreaming, and keep checking those pennies. Because you never know when you might just find the next impossible coin, quietly waiting in the palm of your hand. On their own, each of these three coins, the 1984 1 cent worth $70 million, the 2000 D 1 cent valued at $35 million, and the 1959 D 1 cent that reached an astonishing $90 million, tells a unique and powerful story, but when considered together, they form a collective narrative that transcends their face value and reflects the unpredictable and captivating world of numismatics. These coins are not just pieces of metal. They are rare artifacts that represent freak moments in minting history, frozen in time, carrying with them the weight of error, mystery, human oversight, and the sheer randomness of discovery. The 1984 1 cent, with its extreme double-die obverse, captured attention due to its striking and almost surreal appearance, where Lincoln's profile and inscriptions appear eerily duplicated, a visual glitch in a mass production process that typically allows no room for such dramatic mistakes. What made it even more compelling was its near-perfect condition and the additional minor defects that occurred simultaneously, things like die polishing marks, a slight off-center strike, and planchet inconsistencies, all of which compounded its uniqueness. It was not merely an error coin, it was the coin that seemed to collect every known defect and present them all on one small copper disc. Collectors and graders alike were stunned by how these features layered together into something wholly unprecedented. Then we look at the 2000 D Lincoln cent, another seemingly modern coin that became a collector's fantasy. A combination of the wide AM reverse, die doubling on both sides, clipped planchet, off-center strike, and most surprisingly, a copper alloy composition that wasn't supposed to exist for coins of that year. Each element added a layer to its narrative. The mystery deepened when metallurgic testing showed inconsistencies, suggesting a leftover blank or contaminated alloy mix from decades past had somehow made its way into the press line at the Denver Mint. It was an anomaly with no documented precedent, and the fact that it remained in mint state despite its multiple irregularities only made it more mythical. That coin is now cited in coin shows, publications, and auctions as a textbook example of the chaotic beauty that can emerge from an otherwise rigid system of quality control. And yet, even with the mysteries of the 1984 and 2000 D cents, the 1959 D wheat reverse Lincoln cent rises above them all, not because of multiple visible errors or dramatic appearance, but precisely because of its understated yet impossible design. The simplicity of its deception is its strength. The wheat reverse had officially ended in 1958. By 1959, all cents were meant to feature the Lincoln Memorial. Yet here it was, a coin dated 1959, struck in Denver, but bearing the reverse of a design that should have been retired forever. No mint records indicate its creation. No logical explanation exists in official archives. Experts, after exhaustive analysis, confirmed its authenticity. The die alignment, strike pressure, metallic composition, and even the micro-die flow patterns all matched up with what a real mint product would show. But it still defies historical documentation, and that paradox only intensifies its value. Together, these three coins redefine what we think we know about money, value, and rarity. They expose the cracks in what should be a perfectly controlled system and reveal that, sometimes, those cracks are what collectors prize above all else. These coins are not valued simply for their age, metal content, or artistry. They are prized for being accidents of history, tangible reminders that perfection is rare, but imperfection is priceless when it defies all expectations. And perhaps most fascinating of all is that these coins weren't found by government researchers or mint insiders, but often by regular people, hobbyists, collectors, or even those casually sifting through pocket change. That possibility, that a life-changing treasure might be sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or a roll from the bank, adds a romantic and thrilling dimension to coin collecting that few other hobbies can match. The 1984 1 cent, with its wild doubling and overlapping minting anomalies, remains the coin that shocked the world with its dramatic appearance and record-breaking auction. The 2000 D, A Frankenstein of features from across decades, stunned collectors with its multi-layered rarity and proof that lightning can strike even in recent mintage. And the 1959 DeWitt cent, the crown jewel, stands not just as a collectible, but as an enigma, a contradiction in copper that challenges everything we thought we knew about U.S. coin production. Together, they remind us that every coin tells a story, but some tell legends. Whether hidden in circulation or protected behind slabs of airtight plastic, these three pieces of history show that sometimes, the smallest objects can carry the biggest mysteries. Keep looking, keep hoping, and keep flipping those pennies. Because history doesn't always announce itself, it might just be waiting quietly in your change.